Welcome to the Recon Trader. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I set up a automated trading bot using CryptoHopper on the Kraken exchange. So let's get started. Now the first thing you will need if you don't currently have one is a CryptoHopper subscription. There'll be a link down below if you don't have one that you can click on, and it'll take you over to CryptoHopper where you can sign up for a free trial. Once you're signed in to your account, you will see a screen similar to this screen minus the existing bots I have. I have a couple Binance bots, and I'm in the middle of working on a strategy for Bittrex. And if you want to see that strategy in an upcoming video, be sure to subscribe now, and you'll be able to see that video probably in the next couple weeks. But now let's get started on the new Kraken exchange automated trading bot through CryptoHopper. I simply just click on the Add New Hopper, and it will ask you which type of hopper you want. Do you want the arbitrage bot, auto trading bot, or the market maker? We're going to do the auto trading bot. And you'll end up on a page where you can actually use some of their existing templates. We are going to choose configure yourself. I don't need to use their templates. So we'll click on configure yourself. And the very first thing we want to start with is the basic settings. And you need to name your bot. In this case, real simple, we're going to name it Kraken. And I'm not going to activate it live yet because I don't want it live while I'm going through the configuration. So we'll go to the exchange, and you'll have an option to do paper trading. I'm not going to do that on this bot. I've already done paper trading and have all my back testing done, and that's why I'm setting up a live bot. The exchange I'm going to choose, obviously, is Kraken. And then I need to enter my Kraken API keys. So, again, if you don't have a Kraken account, I'll put a link down below. You can click on that link, and it will take you over to the Kraken exchange website, where you'll need to get started, which by clicking on the Get Started button, it's going to just ask you for a little bit of information. If you want to see, what you'll actually have to provide is your full name, date of birth, address, and phone number. And that is the minimum required to set up a Kraken account, and you can actually fund your account with cryptocurrencies. If you want to fund your account with fiat, like US dollars, you will need to provide a little more information like a government ID. But once you have your account set up, then you go ahead and sign in, and you'll put your username and your password. And you'll have to do your two-factor authentication. And once we've got that put in, you hit enter. And this is basically your landing page, which will show you your positions, your balances. I have about $700 worth of Bitcoin in here currently. And we need to go get those APIs so we can finish setting up the CryptoHopper. And so you will need to jump over to your settings and API under your account tab, and generate, assuming you don't have any keys, you will want to generate a new key. And in this case, I'm going to name this one bot. And I want to let it query funds, deposit funds, not withdraw funds. You definitely don't want to let it withdraw funds. I'm going to let it do the trading and query ledger. The only thing you really don't want to allow it to do is withdraw funds. Anything if someone wants to deposit funds into my exchange, I'm more than happy to let them do that. And I need both the API key and the private key. So I want to copy and paste both the API key and the private key. Now keep in mind, the private key is exactly what it says. It's top secret. You should keep that to yourself and confidential. I will actually be going back in and deleting this API key before I upload the video to YouTube. And so we will jump back over to CryptoHopper and place our Kraken API key in the first spot, and then go back and grab the private key and paste that where it says private key. And then you could generate a second key as a backup in case for some reason this key became corrupted. In this case, I'm not going to do that. And then the last tab is use ticker rate. I generally go with always use last tick I want in and out. I don't want to wait for highest ask or bids. So I generally select always use last tick. Now under notifications, I have notification on trade turned on. Alright, so we're going to jump to the next tab, which is your buy settings. And order type, I select market. You have an option for market or limit. The limit order will allow you to set a percentage higher or lower or amount higher or lower over the current bid or ask. Maximum open buy time, I have 9 minutes. Maximum open positions will be 15, as that'll be the maximum number of coins this particular subscription will allow me to trade. And then maximum percentage open positions, I only want this percentage to equal 1 open position per coin. I only want to be holding 1 position per coin at a time. And that's your next choice down below. Only 1 open buy order per coin. Again, I only want 1 open order per coin. I don't want to get into 2 or 3 positions per coin. 1 position will be fine for my strategy. And then I will enable the cooldown period, and that will only be triggered after sells. My cooldown period, I have selected 30 minutes, as I will be trading primarily on 15-minute candles and some 30-minute candles. There might be 1 or 2 coins that I configure for 1 hour, and that will all be under the pools, which we'll be looking at here shortly. Now we'll jump over to coins and amounts. Now under the coins and amounts, I want to change that to US dollars, so I will drop down to USD and click change. It will verify I want to do that. Yes, I do. And it has done that, and now I need to select the coins allowed. I'm limited to 15 on this particular subscription, and I've already added the majority of the coins. The only one I have to add is BTC. And you just basically click on the coins and it will move it to either side. If you want to add it, you click over here. If you want to subtract it, you would click on here and it will put it back to available coins. And moving on to the percentage buy amount, I am going to adjust this to 10%. Minimum US dollar amount per order I have set at $100, and that will be based on my minimum US dollar amount allocated within Kraken. And I'm going to start that account basically with $1,500 so I can test this bot basically live. And once I can confirm that my strategies are working, I can bump these numbers up and adjust them accordingly. Let's move on to strategy. Under strategy, I use multiple TA factors. I do not use signals. The number of targets to buy, they have set at 1, which is the default. The maximum is 10. What this basically means is if your strategy sees 10 targets that have met your strategy, it'll only buy 1. For my strategies, I select 9. I'm okay if my strategy sees 9 targets, I want it to buy 9. It could possibly see 15 since I have 15 coins available for trading, but the most I think I've ever really seen it buy is around 4 or 5. So I set it at 9, and I'm okay if it was to buy 9 at a time. And then under the advanced multiple TA settings is where we actually set up our strategy. Now the majority of the coins that I've already performed back testing and paper trading on are going to trade under the 15-minute candles. And I'm going to use RSI, your standard RSI, and Bollinger Bands. So I can eliminate all these others. The only 2 I need enabled are going to be RSI and Bollinger Bands. And then under the RSI, my settings, I do not do the default of 14, I do 9. I will do a future video on how I configure RSI and why I use the settings that I use. So again, you might want to subscribe now. RSI oversold, I do 20, which is the default for the crypto world. In the stock world, it's 30. And then my overbought, oversold threshold, 80 is kind of the default for crypto, but I set it at 90. I won't actually be shorting anything on this particular bot. I will be setting up a bot in the future for shorting, so stay tuned for that. RSI will be necessary to trigger the bot. And then for my Bollinger Band settings, I use the 20, which is the default. But for my deviation bands, my upper and lower bands, I use actually 2.5. The default is 2. That just gives me a little wider spread on the bands. And then for the moving average, I use the EMA, not the SMA. And again, Bollinger Bands will be necessary. And it's never a bad idea to go ahead and save your settings, even though you're not completely finished configuring. Alright, the next section is the trailing stop buy, and what this feature will do will track the currency price downwards until it retraces back upwards 0.25%. Now you can set this at what you want, but for my strategy, I'd like to see it moving in the positive direction at least 0.25%. And then we move on to the sell settings. I'm looking for this to sell at 3%. So once I have a profit of 3%, I want it to go ahead and do a market order and let that stay open for about 9 minutes. Under the sell strategy, I don't utilize that because I'm just doing a standard sell at profit. And then if we look at my stop loss, if you're going to be an elite trader, you must use a stop loss whether you're using a bot or live trading. I can't stress that enough. I have mine set at about 0.5%, and you can see it's enabled. And what this does, the 0.5% allows for some slippage. On all my recon that I did on the Kraken exchange, I had about 0.25% of slippage. And what that means is I didn't actually get filled at 0.5%. When the stop loss order went through, I was actually getting filled around 0.75%. So there was about 0.25% slippage, and that allowed me to maintain my risk versus reward ratios. The next section is a trailing stop loss. I've utilized this in the past, but again, all my recon, my back testing, paper trading on this particular strategy, this was actually not as profitable as just my standard sell orders. So I did not set up a trailing stop loss. If we look at the last couple tabs, I don't actually utilize their auto close feature. I'm not shorting anything on this particular bot. I will do a video and a dedicated bot for shorting in the future. And then I never dollar cost average. If you've watched my videos in the past, you know my opinion of dollar cost averaging. That is for amateurs and a real good way to lose money. I will do a future video on dollar cost averaging versus scaling into a position. Those are two very different strategies, but for now, I'm not doing any of the dollar cost averaging. And now the last thing we need to do is configure a couple pools. Like I had mentioned, a couple of the coins perform better on different time frames given my recon. So we'll jump over under the config tab to config pools, and we need to add a pool. And so the first pool we're going to add is, I'm going to name it 1 hour. And that's because it's the 1 hour time frame that these particular coins perform the best under. The majority of the settings will stay the same except under settings. I will need to adjust the candle size to 1 hour versus 15 minutes. These particular coins perform better on the 1 hour candle sizes versus the 15-minute. And then we'll jump back to the basic settings, and the coins that performed better there were BAT, ETC, Zcash, and Link. And so we'll save that. That's it to the actual configuration of that particular pool. I will do an updated video with more details on how to configure pools in a future video. This video is getting pretty long. The second configuration I'm going to name 30-minute. Because again, this time frame is the 30-minute candle sizes that these particular coins perform better under. And so we jump over to the strategy, change the 15-minute candle size to 30, and jump back to the basic settings. And we want to add BCH and XTZ. Those were the only two. The rest will go under the 15-minute time frame. and except these 6 coins out of the 15 perform better on different time frames, the other 9 perform best on the 15-minute time frame. And so now that I have those pools configured, we'll jump back over to the base configuration, and we're going to just scan through real quick to make sure all of our settings are ready and activate this bot. So the very first tab is basic settings. I'm going to turn it on live. Under the exchange settings, I'm not doing paper trading, I'm going to do live. Kraken, my API keys that I loaded, that all looks good. The notifications turned on. My buy settings are all set up, ready to go. The coin amounts are as we had loaded our 15 coins with the different buy amounts. The strategy is all set up under the advanced tab. It's going to use RSI and Bollinger Bands. We have our trailing stop buy activated. We've got our sell setting at 3%. So with my take profit at 3% and my stop loss setting at 0.49%, that looks like a 1-to-6 ratio. But again, because of that slippage, we're going to be seeing probably closer to a 1-to-4 or maybe even a 1-to-3, depending on how much slippage we get. And then we didn't set up any of these last tabs. And we're just going to jump over to the dashboard at this point. And we're going to enable the hopper. The hopper has started. And so it will now start looking for targets. No targets have been found. It just checked. And that pretty much wraps this up. It's a little bit longer video than I wanted to make. I'll do some updates in the near future. So again, be sure to subscribe. If you got any comments on your configurations or any other type of information you'd like to see me make videos on, comment down below. And until next time, remember, before you send your money into battle, do your recon. See you in the next video.